it's possible to go out at a smaller budget and win straight up against all these guys. So a lot of people think that being a professional driver or a professional drifter specifically means that there's some fairy out in the universe or something, I guess, that pays you hundreds of thousands of dollars to come and do this. And for Vaughn Gittin Jr., that might be true, but for the vast majority of those, I'd say eighth on down in points, maybe even higher than that in some instances. We're all hustling as hard as we possibly can to make this happen. I run this out of my house. I have a little, I say a little, 30 by 40 shop out behind my house that I run my team out of. It's myself and my wife most of the time. She's our business manager. I'm the driver and owner of the team, I guess. But it's us hustling all year and making continuous connections. Usually my wife, because I'm tied up at the pit and on the track, and she takes every opportunity she can to talk to every person at the racetrack and then try and develop those into other relationships. It's amazing how many times that you can develop a relationship just through networking at the track, and one person's going to know somebody else that can put you in touch with a decision maker at a company that might be interested in partnering together. So that's how a lot of sponsorships work. Of course, we do the thing where we go to SEMA and talk to companies, and that's actually in general kind of how the comp deal for us came together. We met some people who knew some people, and after SEMA I just did a cold call email to Chris Douglas out there, who I didn't know at the time, but is the guy at Comp, now the Edelbrock Group, and just sort of told him who we were, and we were building a new Cadillac at the time, and I don't know if he thought we were cool or felt sorry for us. It could have gone either way, but he's like, man, maybe we need to give these guys a shot. And I didn't know how unique that really was, because Comp really doesn't sponsor drivers. They sponsor series or events or larger scale things like that, but really not teams. So I didn't understand at that time that how unique and how special of a thing that we have together, and it's something I wouldn't trade for the world. We've developed our program alongside Comp and now Edelbrock. We're looking forward to running some of their new superchargers this year, but that's just a relationship that they've been so understanding and so helpful in the growth of our whole program, very much more involved than what a lot of sponsors are with their teams. They helped us with the R&D process when we were going through all the engine issues early on. Ended up generally being a builder issue more than anything else. And then it was parts issues that weren't theirs, but they were willing to come in and help fix those issues, even though it wasn't their problem. I mean, just truly a partnership in every sense of the word. And we try to give back as much as we possibly can to not only Comp, but also Achilles when we were sponsored by them, and Yellow Speed, our coilover company, and now Liqui Moly we're working with on our oil. So all these different companies that come together to make our whole program, we try to do lots of creative things in a lot of different outlets to give back to those people. We do a lot of videos and a lot of different cars. I try to tell all of our partners they're sponsoring our lifestyle and not just our car and Formula Drift. So, I do FD and that whole thing, but I also do fun stuff, that a series we made called Hulls of Hazard, where we do a little spin-off retake of the Dukes of Hazzard. It's my favorite show growing up, where I got into cars in general. I had a little Matchbox General Lee is my first thing that got me into cars. So that's something that we do, and we try to incorporate it into that a little bit. And I do cannonball stuff, and we try and incorporate all of those partners into that to some degree, where applicable at least. And if they want to be part of, our fraternity of lunatics, so to speak, we understand that not everybody wants to be part of that and respect that. But in general, most everybody does. We're all car guys at heart, and when you tell somebody you want to go race across the country, they're interested in that too. I don't think you even realize how much a season of FD, or pick a motorsport, I guess, but for us it's FD. I don't think you realize how much it costs till you get to the end of the year and you start trying to do your tax write-offs. Pretty much, we come up with a budget, or at least in 2017, 18, 19, we came up with a budget and we doubled it every year of our total spend. So now we've kind of got the idea of, what we're going to spend based off of the previous years, but it's an unbelievable amount of money, and for a long time, and even still to some degree, a portion of that is covered by our partners, and a portion of that is covered by everything else I do to try and make this happen, which generally includes buying and selling cars and helping my buddies, put roll cages or whatever in their cars and all kinds of craziness. I've sold more Dodge Chargers in the past 2 years than I could shake a stick at, but it's all to fund the program and for the betterment of our whole race team. But yeah, the amount of money that it takes, and depending on where you're at in the series, it can be a huge swing, because if you're not on a tire deal, that's about a $30,000 swing when it comes to Formula Drift, because you go through 300 tires in a year. It's a lot. We'll go through at least 30 in an event, and if you run in any other sort of series, it's the clutch kickers will go through 20. At a practice day, you'll go through 20. It adds up just so fast. And if you're paying for them, they're typically, $75 to $100 a piece. You're only allowed to run tires that are approved by any given series, in our case, Formula Drift. So, a tire company has to sponsor the series. It's a huge commitment for the tire companies as well. So like right now we only have 4 options, or last year we only had 4 options of tire companies, because the requirement from the series is that they sponsor the series, and then in addition to sponsoring the series, they have to provide tire support at the track. So they bring a rig, they bring 3 or 4 tire machines, they bring people to operate those tire machines. Oh yeah, by the way, you have to give these other guys tires that actually are going to go out and burn them off on the racetrack too. So I just really commend the tire companies that come in and do this, because the sacrifice and the level of commitment that they have to come and do this is unprecedented. You have a guy, I use the example, Frederick Osbo, and he's got Stefan Papadakis as a crew chief. And that guy is a savant with race cars in general, but drifting specifically now. He came from the import tuner front wheel drive drag racing world, and he's very, very good at what he does, to the point of, taking tenths of pounds, grams off the cars to make them lighter, better, faster, just there to dominate me and everybody like me on the drift circuit at FD and beyond. So it's really kind of strange that I even still feel that I can go out to, round 1 is going to be at Road Atlanta this year, but I truly feel that I can go out and beat him, even still, with me having the limited resources that we have in compared to those guys, and limited funds in the car and time in the car. I'm able to go out 30, 40 hours a week maybe and work on my car and develop it, to where they're doing 100 hours a week, and that's just Steph himself. He's there, daylight to dark and then some, trying to get every little bit that he can get. And there's several other teams like that, JR's team, and there's so many others. The Worthhouse guys when they were here with James Dean and Peter, but the list goes on of teams that can focus all their time, money, and energy to developing their program. But drifting is such a different thing than oval track racing, to where the car can only get you so far. I use the example of, in oval track, I can give you, if I give you a 90% car and you're a 60% driver, you can still go win with it. In FD or in drifting, if I give you a 90% car and a 60% driver, a 80% driver and a 60% car can still go out and beat you. It's much less about the car than it is about the driver, to a point. You're not going to take a 400 horsepower car that's not got an angle kit on it or anything and go beat an FD car. There's got to be somewhat of a level playing field, but it's possible to go out at a smaller budget and win straight up against all these guys. The most would have to be upwards of $500,000 or more that you could spend on a car, and that's not including the countless hours of continued development that you have, just physical dollars in the car. If you weren't sponsored by any of these companies that help, I'm sure that you could have 500,000 or more in a car regularly, 200,000 to 300,000 easily. I would say the least somebody has spent on a car in Formula Drift would probably be 30 or 40 grand. There's been people go out and beat a $500,000 car with a $30,000 car. Maybe not completely heads up or straight up. It might have been that they made a mistake or blew an engine or whatever. There could be a series of things that could cause one car to fall out and one to move on, but it can be done.